And Rita, how do you ensure that your daughter and your clients don't have an unrealistic expectation of beauty and a healthy approach to beauty?
Well, what we do is we instill confidence. As our doctor with here was indicating, it has to do with your self-esteem. My daughter has a lot of self-confidence. The young ladies that come to our pageant, usually when you go to a beauty pageant, you'll have a winner, you'll have several losers. The losers go home feeling like, oh, I'm inadequate. I must not have been pretty enough. The judge didn't pick me, or maybe my hair wasn't the right color or something like that. And our system is a little bit different. Everybody goes home a winner, meaning they're all awarded for their participation in some way or the other. So nobody goes home. So our basic interest is to instill confidence and positiveness about your body and about yourself. My daughter is very active in a lot of different things, and from the time she was an infant, she was always very outgoing, and we just kind of develop that. And if all the parents will try to do the same with their little ones from the time they're younger, we might be able to avoid a lot of this extra perception of the extra artificial beauty that we need, because we really don't.
Well, I asked some women in Los Angeles about what they thought about beauty was, and let's take a look now.
What defines a woman's beauty? Is it physical or does it come from within?
It should come from within. But sometimes the media makes us feel like it should be from the outside.
And I know many people, they step out and it looks like they're going to the red carpet event when they just go to the grocery store. And that's okay, because you should have a lot of self-pride in your own appearance. But I do believe ultimately that beauty definitely comes from within.
It comes from within, absolutely. But I think beauty also is having self-respect and dignity, and if that shows through, then you've got the battle won.
I think it comes from within, but it's also a lot about confidence. If you're confident, you look beautiful.
I think it comes from within first, and then if you feel good about yourself, it shows on the outside.
For men, it's physical. For women and their self-esteem, a lot of it is physical. But beauty is from within. If you're a kind person.
Dr. Thomas, what's your perception of beauty?
Well, I think they're all right. Real beauty is from within, but we have to realize we live in an environment that external beauty is very important. When you go for employment and you look attractive, your chances of probably getting hired is much more than somebody who's not attractive. So these tapes that we viewed, these were mostly women who really didn't want to hear about plastic surgery, so obviously their opinion was different than the average person. But I think external beauty makes a difference. And I'm not saying changing completely somebody's look or somebody's body shape, but to make some small changes to make that little tiny flaw in the face or in the body look better.
And you, Rita?
As far as enhancements is concerned, me personally, I wouldn't go in that direction, nor would I encourage my daughter to go in that direction. However, I do agree with him. If there is a flaw that is, maybe it's going to be because of a health issue or because of some other reason that it's going to hinder you from doing something, then yes, by all means, go and have that corrected. But just for, oh, I want to go out tomorrow with all my friends and they all can wear this little tiny little bikini, so I need to go get some liposuction real quick so I can just fit into the crowd. No, absolutely not.
And what's your perception of beauty, Jacqueline?
Well, my perception of beauty is that it should start from within. But I do agree with the doctor from the standpoint, if you are looking to make small changes, small enhancements, because there is a flaw. For instance, if a woman has breast cancer and a breast is removed, now that type of surgery will probably cause her to be very devastated, very depressed. She would begin to question her womanhood, looking feminine, and so breast surgery in that particular case is something that is warranted. In some instances, we may have a female who was born with a congenital disorder where there is some, damage or some malformation to the breast at birth. And in order for that individual to have, healthy self-esteem, then breast surgery would be something that would enhance her self-esteem, make her feel, good about herself. So I really think it depends upon the reason why the individual is asking for the surgery to be performed.
Now, there's a lot of reality televisions on show right now that embrace beauty, and two in particular that caught my attention is a show called Toddlers and Tiaras, and also Little Miss Perfect. And these shows are basically giving you an insight on what it takes to be in a pageant, the process that these young girls go through. Have you seen these shows, Rita?
Actually, my system has actually been aired on one episode of Toddlers and Tiaras. We, unfortunately, sometimes when the reality goes to film a particular episode, they usually find parents who's a little bit more on the extreme, but not all of it is like that. Me as a director, I encounter a lot of very real people, beautiful children, beautiful parents. The interaction between the contestants is absolutely amazing. Yes, we do offer two different systems. One is a full glitz, whereas the hair, the makeup, the whole thing, and the other one's more totally natural, absolutely natural. And you have a choice of doing it. So again, the doctor says it's a choice. It's really a choice. It's totally up to you. When entering a child in a beauty pageant, if that's a parent choice, call, find out all the information before you get into it. I always say ask a lot of questions before you jump into something like that.
And Dr. Thomas, how can medicine end the American woman's obsession with looks?
How can it help?
Yes.
Well, medicine, plastic surgery medicine. As I mentioned before, we cannot change the obsession. The obsession comes from the media, because when you look at the magazines and when you look at TV shows and you have this idea what beauty means. And so as plastic surgeons, we can try to achieve it for the patients, but the point is that the plastic surgeon has to be experienced enough and ethical enough not to completely change that person, and to be reasonable, so that afterwards the person should really like they should look like themselves, but a little bit enhanced, not totally different.
And Jacqueline, how can psychology end the obsession with beauty?
Well, in working with a client, we are hoping to be able to help the client to begin to look at themselves in the mirror, say positive things, identify positive things about themselves in an attempt to minimize some of the negativity that they are experiencing. Then also to begin to help the person to identify what past experience is associated with their distorted perception of themselves. It could be that they were in a bad marriage or bad relationship, and therefore they feel negative about the way they look.
Well, that's all we have time for. I want to thank my guests today. You've been watching On Point. I'm Climesha McDaniel. How do you think parents can help end the obsession with the Americans and their looks?
Parents
Yes.
needs to start from the time their child is an infant, start crawling, start walking, start talking, start to encourage them, not only just maybe at home, but at school, in extracurricular activities, whatever is needed to encourage that child. If you groom a perfect child, it would not be a person that's with all the makeup and all the flaws corrected and everything just absolutely perfect as the media perceive it. A perfect child, first of all, there's no such thing, but if there was, it would be a person who definitely instilled a lot of confidence in themselves, a lot of strength, a lot of inner strength,